Thank you. I was wishing I'd had time to get around to all the workshops because everyone looked like it was really exciting. I was in the Against Cuts workshop and that was excellent, and I really want to applaud them for their focus on organizing, and that's one thing I want to talk about. But I want to start with, first I want to mention my favorite button to date is Tax the Rich. Duh. Laura Wells is wearing that, and I think it's perfect. I mean, it really is obvious, like Tanya said, the absurdity, the absolute astonishing absurdity of thinking that that is not the answer. I want to give a very short history of the Oakland Unified School District because I think it pulls in a lot of elements that are really critical. The district was taken over in 2003, allegedly because it did not have enough money to run itself and needed help in figuring out its fiscal affairs. So they sent in 3 people in a row who were trained by the Eli Broad Institute. None of them had any experience whatsoever in fiscal management. All of them contributed greatly in making sure that when they left, OUSD was left with a larger debt than it had before. So at this point, the children of Oakland, the non-charter children, the charter children are exempt from this, the traditional public school children are saddled with $6 to $7 million a year in debt and growing. What does this have to do with what I want to talk about? It's all about privatization, and now we're seeing in our schools, they're closing 5 schools this year. They're talking about closing 20 more. We can argue about whether Oakland has too many schools. They opened up dozens of new schools under the state takeover. They couldn't afford them. Gates brought money in. He took the money back. So you see the face of privatization, sending money in, taking it back, and then saying, well, you're just going to have to close schools. Some of the schools that are left are getting panicky because they're not going to have the same autonomies that they had before. And so they're deciding they're going to convert to charters. Charters are straight out excuses for union busting. They are not, the teachers are at-will employees. They have no rights. These unfortunate young teachers will soon find out that they're going to want to come back into Oakland Unified because they have no future there. So I have a couple of proposals. One is around specific demands to banks, and that, I think if you went to the OEA bank workshop this morning, where did I put it? Our letter to John Stump, the CEO of Wells Fargo from January of this year. We called on Wells Fargo and other major banks operating in California to do 5 things. 1, publicly call on the state to forgive the Oakland Unified School District the $100 million debt. This debt was tripled under the state administrators who took over the district. 2, form a consortium of banks to pay off the district debt. This debt is barely 1/500th of the bailout tax dollars given to Wells Fargo alone. 3, publicly endorse a local and state tax on bank and other corporate profits. 4, support the return of the split roll tax to raise rates on corporate property. 5, stop foreclosures and lower mortgage debt to reflect homes' reduced market values. Those are specific demands to banks. We've met with Wells Fargo. They continue to assure us that they are great community partners, but that's not the case. You judge for yourself. The second thing that I think we need to focus on is educating ourselves and educating our community about privatization. Why charters are not a choice for parents. Why they cream children from other schools. Why they leave workers without any rights. Why they are real union busters. We need to educate ourselves about why they're going in that direction and trying to take away the right to a free public education from our students. The third is what was really focused on in Against Cuts, and that's to organize. And one thing in our union, and I'm sure it's true in other unions, people are at very different places. Many teachers are totally focused on what they're doing in the classroom. I've had many teachers say to me, what do I care about the banks? What do I care about what's happening in Occupy Oakland? It doesn't mean anything to me. I think that changed in the last 2 months. I think people started really seeing, like November 2nd, we had 350 teachers that took the day off and went into the streets. And we had just as many more, many of them young teachers. And we had more than that stayed in their classrooms and taught about economic and social justice in their classrooms with their students. I think that Occupy Oakland has been, and Occupy Wall Street has been a phenomenal force in helping people to immediately connect dots that for years we've been struggling to try and help them to see. And I really do believe that we have to meet people where they are. They often will not, if we keep saying it's this connection, they have people, we all have to learn through our own experience. I'm urging people in the union now to go down to a General Assembly, see what it looks like to be in a place where there really is democracy in action, where people are discussing and informing each other about the issues. The fourth is that we have to continue to challenge our parent unions. The California Teachers Association has been paying lip service to progressive taxation, education and social services, an initiative in November of 2012, but it was only on the urging of locals within the CTA, and they're backsliding now and talking about waiting to see what Jerry Brown does. So we need to keep, those of us who are part of state councils or part of representative groups in our unions need to keep raising the issues, need to keep pushing it, or our parent unions will not do it. Thank you.